Mitch and I are talking about 3 interesting variations on the Zenith El Primero Chronomaster. Mitch and Mike here from SwissWatchExpo. Mitch is going to be the best supporting actor for the year this year on the next time you see those Grammy Awards. He'll be on the red carpet. He'll have a red watch to wear, I'm sure, as part of it. What do you have on today?
Today I've got a moon watch on.
Love it. Good for any occasion. We're talking about the Zenith El Primero. Now, you already probably know the history of this watch. This was 7 years in development in the 60s. They were on the race to try to become the first automatic chronograph watch that had ever been made. They lost out on that time race to the group with Tag Heuer and Breitling and somebody else. But what they were really trying to do over at Zenith was make the most accurate chronograph that had ever been made. And so they missed out on trying to be the very first one. It still came out in 1969. We can think of it as one of the first automatic chronographs. It's called El Primero, means the first. And it beats at 36,600 beats per hour. So it's 10 per second instead of 8 per second that you normally get with a 28/8 movement. A lot more than you get with the low speed movements that are in the 18,000s. So the neat thing about this is because it beats 10 times per second, it's a much more smooth sweep. But it'll register. Why do you want to keep track of eighths of a second on your chronograph? It does tenths of a second, which makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, more useful.
How fast do I do the 50 yards, Dad? Well, and something, and how many eighths of a second. But anyway, when the quartz craze came on, the quartz crisis of the Swiss watch companies, Zenith, the American electronics radio company, owned Zenith Watch Company at the time, and they made the strange management decision to cease production of the El Primero movement after it had only been out for about 8 or 9 years. And they strangely ordered essentially all the stuff to be destroyed. Thank God there was one guy who was one of the original watchmakers who developed that movement who decided to stick everything up in the attic. Smart. And he hid it in a hidden compartment of the attic at the Zenith Watch Company so that the tools and the plans and all the stuff wouldn't get destroyed. And sure enough, about 5 years later, suddenly there became a demand for the movement again. Other Swiss watch companies came knocking and they wanted them to start making it, and he said, "Ha, I've got something up in the attic."
History savior.
Yep. So Rolex used the Zenith El Primero movement in the Daytona for many years. Mm-hmm. It's one of the great watch movements, and it's really interesting that these watches, for how great this movement is, they're not real expensive. Nope. This one that I'm holding is maybe half the price that it was when it was brand new. And so if you're looking for the most bang for the buck that you can possibly get, possibly one of these Zenith El Primeros would be the trick for you. But these are the Chronomaster line. And what's interesting about this one is a 2010 model. And on this one, you can see it has this really thick case, and it has these kind of concentric rings in the bezel as it builds up to a really thick total case shape there. It's very interesting. It's kind of Art Deco, the way it looks with the... How does that strike you?
Tall.
It's tall.
Tall is the way I would
describe it. It is tall.
That.
I mean, it's a 40 millimeter watch, but because it's thick, it probably wears, it wears a little tall. But if you're not into the current trend of the super big jumbo watches, this one might just be the ticket. Now, what's cool about these watches is that on the dial, they have a cutaway part here so that you can see the timekeeping element of the watch, which is called the escapement. And what that does, this one has built into it a silicone escape wheel and pallet. And so one of the challenges of modern watchmaking is to try to figure out how to diminish the friction in the movement as much as possible so that it doesn't require a lot of lubrication, it doesn't require a lot of maintenance, it makes the pyro reserve longer, it makes the watch run more accurately and more reliably. So on this one, they've made a lot of the parts out of the silicone, which doesn't really attract magnetic charge. And it really needs no lubrication from what I've read. So the service interval on this watch should just be forever.
Absolutely, just kind of drops off.
Yep. Now on this one it's cool because the running seconds hand on a lot of watches It's run by different wheels, but on this one it's run by the fourth wheel, it's called. And you can see there's a little tri-spoke indicator there on the cutout area. That is the running seconds hand. And so one of those three spokes, they've put the luminous material on so that you can see it, that your watch is running. But it's really neat. I mean, you can take a loop and just really be able to enjoy seeing that escape wheel and the palette and the balance wheel and see the nuts and bolts of what's going on with your watch. On the back, of course, is an exhibition case back. And they've made this watch where the engineering of it is such that you can really see a lot of the movement, and really as much as you would normally see on a hand-wound mechanical watch.
Absolutely.
Really cool. This one is interesting. It's the big date version, and you can see right up here that it's got independent date wheels for the 0, 1, 2, 3, and the 1 through 9. And you can see the rest of the date wheel. You can kind of see it in almost like a shadow behind the rest of it. So it kind of has this Art Deco plus steampunk feel to it with all the cogs and gears and wheels.
You can kind of see what is actually happening and how the date advances to the next position without just watching it. You can look in and through the dial, you can see enough of the elements to get the full picture of what's actually happening inside this movement.
Yeah, I love that. And then for the chronograph, it just has a 30-minute counter here at 3 o'clock, but it has the power reserve, the reserve de marche indicator there up to about 50 hours. So this one's really cool. I mean, you should definitely give us a call and see if we still have that one. But this one, this one's a 2017. And they really made the watch a lot different. You can see it went up from 40 millimeters to 42, but what a difference that makes in the thickness. Because they had a lot more room. They didn't have to cram everything in as much. It's a really interesting case on this one. The lugs are sort of stubby, and so it would fit, even though it's 42 millimeter, on a smaller wrist. The entire watch is high polish, except for just the tops of the lugs here are brushed, and they used this really cool looking boxed sapphire crystal, so it has sort of a bit of a dome to it. It has sort of a retro look, but yet you get all the benefits of a sapphire crystal. Now, the movement on this, of course, is the star of the show. Again, we have the silicone parts of the escapement. You can see the balance wheel. They're spinning real fast at 36.6. Again, the running seconds hand, the 30-minute counter for the chronograph, and the reserve de marche there. So this one, I think, is a little more comfortable to wear. It has the double push button here for the double deployant buckle. The Zenith logo, it's this star that you see on the rotor. And when you look with a loop at the movement on this one, even some of the wheels in the movement have that star at the center. So there's a lot of attention to detail on this. And I think this is probably one of my all-time favorite watches. I hadn't really discovered it until here recently. They increased the water resistance. The 2010 model is 30 meters. So it's kind of splash proof. It's good for everyday life. If you happen to get your hand wet washing the dog, it's not going to affect anything. But this one, they increased it to 100 meters. And Mitch, I know you and I were just talking about this. 100 meters, it's good enough for you to do swimming and water sports and basically everything but scuba diving.
That's right. Yeah, you could wear it. If you're doing a fundraiser and you guys are washing cars, you don't have to worry about setting your watch somewhere else so it doesn't get destroyed while you're helping out the community.
And even the strap, it's got this kind of rubberized backing to the alligator. And alligators are waterproof, right? Yeah. So now for the ladies. This is an interesting one. This one is a 37.5 millimeter version for ladies. It's got the same cutout, but look at that. It's got the cutout is in the shape of a heart, and it has another little red heart there. And for the fiber reserve indicator, instead of saying reserve de marche, it says love. So I think the longer you wear it and the more you move your wrist, your love meter goes up. Yeah. So you can give this to someone and know that they've got a love meter on their wrist.
That's right.
Reminding them all the time how much you love them. Of course, it's got the cool font here. We were talking about that's probably not a Microsoft font. They probably designed that themselves. It kind of looks like that 12 Monkeys poster from back in the day. But it's a really, really cool watch. Something that would be interesting for you to pick up. On our website, where it says search 2,000 plus watches, we currently have probably about 2,500 watches in stock. If you just type in that bar El Primero, you'll see all the El Primeros that we've got. They're a fantastic bargain. Give us a call. We'll be happy to talk about them. If you want to know more about what escapements and pallets and balance wheels do, we'll be happy to talk about that with you. Give us a call. Like the videos, hit the bell. We'll be happy to update you, send you these videos updates when we post them every week.
That's right. We'll see you guys next time.